Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome students. We are now coming to the last module of our this discussion on mine closure and sustainability planning. We have been discussing various issues related to mine closure, and then after closing the mines, how we will be handling our liabilities, and then how a sustainable development after the mining is closed. On that number of issues we have discussed so far. Now this time of getting exactly the mine closure done. Now out of that, in our many discussions we have given many examples of the closing of surface mines, but this underground mines closure is another area, and today in our this class we will be discussing about this closing of underground mines and the use of post mining land, that what can be done over there. Now as in this figure you can see a underground coal mine. When we see the board and pillar method of mining, you can see that in the mines normally such type of pillars of coal are left which supports the overlying strata. So in the underground mines where there is a shaft through which the man and the material are transported from the underground mines, when the whole coal is or mineable coal is taken out, at that time below these structures will be remaining. There are the galleries and things like that. So now when we abandon the mine, no more any work, during the mining lot of water which get accumulated over there, they are taken out and we keep it dry. But after the mining is closed, this whole area will be full of those waters, and then there will be a different issues will be involved over there. So when we are to close such type of mine, what we will be leaving it here, and then how we will be dismantling the structures and how this land will be released, that is the job of closing and of underground mines. Similarly, this coal mine, you have got this metal mine. In metal mine also number of different methods used depending on, say for example here a block caving, you are having an incline through which this whole material is evacuated, but there this whole block of material which is our metalliferous ore is blasted, and then they are just collected through the stopes, and then they are collected over here. The above lying strata, it is allowed to get subsidence is taking place over here. So this area above the metalliferous mine also get disturbed depending on that. Now depending on type of use at present of this land, there could be a lot of issues to be handled after the mine is closed. So again, that as I said, in an underground, when we have created a void, in that void lot of water rush in, water keeps on over there, and then when this water sometimes as a muddy water, it may come out of the pit or out of the mine, and then they may create lot of environmental issues. So that closing will have to be done so that there is no problem in using the land after the mining is over. So for that, our managing underground mine closure, it is a issue, that is what will be done, how things will be planned, how it will be executed, what are the different steps, what are the different phases of it. Those are the things as our learning objectives. So after this lecture you should be able to discuss this, what is to be done with when we are going for closing an underground mine. as we said, that underground mining may be by different methods. We can have a inclined shaft or we can have a vertical shaft. Then this below the ground, lot of space, lot of structures, lot of machines are deployed during the mining. Now when the mining will be there, the types of machines, used machines for operating that, electrical connections, then your pumps and all machineries all are brought down over there. Now while you are closing, you will have to recover some of these assets which are there, and then some of them may not be fully you can take it out, but they may be remaining over there. But if they are left to be there, how they may contaminate the water there, and then how this will be affecting the groundwater, which may be a problem from that mining area. It may go to the area beyond, to the other users of groundwater. So that's why we need to be very careful when an underground mine closing. It will involve your permanent closure of these shafts, this through which, that means the excess will have to be, exactly you will have to take it out. Then you will have to see that nobody get and fall into such type of things. So we will have to properly close it. Now there could be adit, you know that there are some, if there is a hill area and things, you are entering, making a tunnel has got both sides opening, and adit is just only one opening and you are going inside. So now if there is such type of adit or tunnels, and then these raises, that is which are there connecting from one level to the another level by raise, those things in an underground mine will have to be closed. And also we need to see that what are the different pollutant sources that could be there. Now the pollutant sources could be induced by man. Because of this we are bringing maybe your grease, oil, lubricant, all will be brought to the mines, and also you are bringing different machines and sometimes chemicals and all required for your mining and other related material handling operations. But when you are going to close it, you must see that no pollutant materials are left. Again, something in the strata, when you are exactly you are taking out those mineral, for taking out that mineral you have done certain excavations in the rock and you have exposed certain amount of rock. Sometimes those rock itself could be a toxic. They may, in contamination with water, they may create certain chemicals which could be dangerous, which could be again soluble to water, and they may spread through the water table. So there we need to be very, very careful. So what is the scenario in India? Also you can see that number of closed and abandoned mines are quite a good number. And even if you see the coal mining, there are many mines which are now abandoned or as a closed. So that is, even in BCCL, our coking coal, about 42 coking coal mines are now abandoned and closed. Similarly, Eastern Coalfield has got a maximum number, 84 abandoned and coal, that is old mines which are there, which are abandoned. Some of them are closed, but thing is that no proper closure has taken place. Similarly, all the subsidiaries, including the Chingarini coalfield, they have also 9 mines which are abandoned and closed. So when we think of these closed mines, there are two issues coming. One is, this closed or abandoned does not mean that your minerals or that coal have been fully taken out. There are about 380 million tons of coal are lying over there in those closed and abandoned mines. And many a time, if it is not properly closed, those mines, exactly the coal get exposed to air, oxidation takes place, spontaneous heating and fire. When the mine fire takes place, you can know that this carbon dioxide and other solid particle materials are released to the atmosphere, greenhouse gases are emitted, and all sorts of environmental problems may come up. So there are two ways of closing these mines. When we are to close, we will have to see that the mines can be sealed, and also we should see how much coal can be taken out. You may be hearing recently that Coal India Limited are trying to have a partnership with different vendors and ventures, so that they can give about 20 closed mines have been identified for reopening by means of some joint ventures. So this type of things are happening. You must know about that, but this we first need to see when you are handling with a closed or abandoned mines, you must know that why it has been closed or why it has been abandoned, because if you want to do something without taking proper account, then you may be having a problem of huge investment to get no return on that investment, or you may face a lot of accidents and safety issues. You may be exposing some of your people to health risk conditions. So that's why you must know what are the causes of mine closure. In India, we can find that depletion of the reserve is, of course, that is when the reserves, their quality or their quantity is not as required, then you may get forced to closure. Then sometimes the heating, spontaneous heating, mine fire, I told you in our previous discussions, a Borgolai coal mines of Northeast Coalfield Limited, when in 99 itself there was a mine fire because of the spontaneous heating, and after that the mine is closed. Now it is just an abandoned mine which exactly cannot be, it will require a huge investment to revive it, and that much coal is also not there, so that whatever the remaining coal, either it will have to be burned or it will have to be just remain like that, as we do not know for an uncertain future. So that's why there may be sometimes as a safety reasons, there are many mines that is exactly if the fall occurs and then some of the time even with the fire or some blast, suddenly a coal dust explosions may take place, and after that due to safety reasons it cannot be opened up. Then inundation is also one, and you might be knowing that for a long time a mine was abandoned in Sasnala after that inundation accident took place, though subsequently it was operated and it has but thing is that for quite a long period the mine had to be abandoned. Then there are sometimes these techno-economic conditions also force you to close a mine. These losses, if you are not properly managing our capital, then the mines will undergo loss, and that it will be coming to a point that you can no longer run the mines. Then this mining is to do with the nature. If the geomining condition itself is adverse and it is not negotiable with present day technology or the technology of that time, they get closed, and when a new technology, new method, new understanding come, it may get reopened. Then sometimes the surface constraints, if you are having some monument on the top, we cannot allow any subsidence to take place. If you are having something, normally you will not do a mining under a airport because of the strategic need for it. Similarly, this sometimes you close that because it is not economic by one method, then you open by another method. Sometimes an underground mine is closed, and then we start doing a mining over the developed seam by open cast mining. So like that you can get, but after this closure has taken place, how exactly those are abandoned mines need to be used. Then what could be done? Many of the things have been people have been using it, sometimes fly ash damping for filling up the suitable reclamations, because some of the solid waste, if those are found to be not going to create any problem to the groundwater or the subsurface conditions, then you can use it for storing them. And then sometimes these underground mines become a very good tourist spot for eco mining tourism development can be done. I think you remember I showed you how exactly in Japan and in Korea some of the tourist spot has been developed over there. Then also with creation of forest that can be used, sometimes the creation of the water bodies for a multi-purpose things. It could be a water sports, there could come aquaponic, some agriculture. Sometimes nowadays it is coming, that is your floating solar panels. That means sometimes this water body can be used in a different way, but the pisciculture and used for drinking water and for irrigation purposes also, that mine site has been used. Then we can have even the agricultural and horticultural uses of the mine sites are plenty, many places. Some of the examples we have discussed also. Now, when we think of exactly the closing of this underground mines, there could be different type of issues will be coming. First thing, what type of landform will be coming over there, then what exactly the voids will be left, because if you do not backfill it, then the subsidence can take place and it can create problem. Many sinkhole formation issues have occurred in different countries because of that properly not closed. Then the how exactly we can eliminate the needs of handling waste rock at a closure, that is also an issue. Moreover, in underground coal mining or underground metal mining, it may be found that the amount of waste which are taken out is less than the amount of minerals or the coal which are produced from that. So that means that whatever material you are having, even if 100% is put back, it cannot be filled. That's why you will have to say, for example, one of the most common method was sand filling. In all coal mines, there used to be a sand filling, that means sand collections. They will be doing the sand mining elsewhere to put those sand into the pit. But here also certain things, some of the sand is also a very valuable item, and you cannot sometimes just keeping them over there, it is a alternative use of sand is getting affected. But there are many sands in our country which river sands cannot be used for construction purposes, but as their transportation from their places to the mine will be again a cost prohibitive. But thing is that an integrated plan can be made, then in which say some of the coal mining area, if there is also they say water crisis in the nearby areas, there some of the river water from those area where those sands are unusable, you can bring along with that sand in a slurry form, separate that sand and send the sand to the coal mines and the water for the other uses. So such type of integrated planning also could be necessary, but that will depend on a localized problem solving. Then there will be the tailings and tailing dams which are there along with the mines. Now those tailing dams, what to do after closing is also another very big issue in closing an underground mines, because there is no space for, or there is exactly no taker for those tailings. Then the tailings can create even environmental problem, so we will have to take it very carefully. Then what is the status of the water inside the mines after ceasing the operational pumping? Because when your pumping is done during the mining period, but when your mine is closed, you no longer do the pumping, then the water get accumulated and that whole underground will be inundated, and there the chemistry of the water and depending on the chemistry of the minerals or that host rock or that rock which is there, then there could be a different type of problem. If there are sulfide, then this water will be acid mine water, and when they are coming out of the pit, or if you want to do something, or they spread into the your aquifer or groundwater, then the water get polluted. So there the issue of acid mine drainage will be coming. How will you neutralize, how will you stabilize the chemical conditions? That is a issue to be done, and that is the characteristics for the underground coal mine closure. Similarly, the ground surface can get subsidized because of the collapse of the that void below, that if the roof collapses, then there will be a subsidence at the surface, and this may be sometimes if it is an agricultural land at the top, because of the subsidence, the water holding capacity of that field will be lost, and then the field will be drying, the trees and plantations cannot grow properly, and the yield of agricultural yield of such type of agricultural field may get reduced. So that is another thing is, when you have seen in the figure, when you have taken out the coal or the overburden, then there is a underground, there will be a stress distributions will be different. some of the places will be highly stressed, and there the rock may fail, the supporting structure may fail, and then it collapse, and it can lead to certain problems to the surface also. So this there will be, because of the water and all, the pillars and all, they can get weakened, and then when they become weak, they collapse, they cannot no longer support the roof, that the whole strata comes down. Then at the top, if there is any buildings and all, they may be having crack, or sometimes even a sinkhole may develop. So there are many issues related to the underground mine, and when it is to be closed, we will have to very properly do the preparatory work. So whenever you are going for closing an underground mine, you will have to do this all legal issues first, that get your land clearance, and then first you know that what is the legal or that what is the regulatory requirements to close the mine, and then you will have to find out that where you will have to give a barricade, where you will have to create a fence, and then what are the signboards to be given, what are the, if there is any historical site, that the mining site may be a heritage site, as for example we told that where the first your locomotive were used in our coal mines, the Tipong colliery is a heritage site, and it has been mentioned. So that you will have to see. Sometimes there could be a specific biodiversity maintenance may be a issue in that area, if certain plants or certain particular type of living creatures are there, we will have to maintain that diversity over there. Then what will be after closing, what is going to happen there, that is a very major issue, because if the acid mine drainage may come, then the mine water which will be coming out of it, if it is going to the agricultural field, then there could be a problem for the society. Their land will get deteriorate, their earning will be reducing. Already the people there, their livelihood has gone down, because they were working in the mines, they no more get any money inflow to their houses, because the business has collapsed. So that's why what will be the future of those area need to be very well thought of while preparing for the closure. So then you will be saying what is the type of closure, whether we are going for developing some economic activity, we are going to edutainment activity, we are going to say your museum and knowledge enhancement activity. So different thing will have to be done, but see, the most important is if it is affecting the biodiversity, if it is affecting the societal environment, then there should be more care must be taken. So when you are going to do this on underground mine closure, you go as a phase wise. In the phase 1, there will be initialization, in which you will be organizing structure of the mine closure policy, whatever that country, you may be working in Congo, or you may be working in Tanzania or South Africa or Australia or US or India, and from there we will have to find out what are their policy, what are the regulations. This will have to be collected, because this job will have to be country specific, and then to do that you will have to develop an organizational structure. What will be the task force you will have to create, so that you can within a short period all the requirements are completed, because you do not want your liabilities to carry for a long period. And then there you will have to understand properly what are the role of this your closure policy to be implemented, and what are the technologically to be achieved, what are to be socially to be managed. That detailed listing will have to be made out in your initializations or the first your preparation phase. And then the whole life cycle, that means your closing, because before the closure also your production is going on. At that time you will have to find out that at what milestone, how much you will have to achieve, so that when your final day of closure comes, your liability is reduced. And then another most important thing is, who are the stakeholders? There could be educated society, there will be a labor society, there could be the stakeholders, maybe other business nearby, maybe a sand mining is done nearby river, and then there is a different type of your business ecosystems are existing there. Who are the stakeholders, how they will be reacting to your closure will have to be taken up. Now once that is done, initialization, then you will be developing the policy and the closure plan. There is a government guideline, but it is the mines their own way. Those guidelines will have to be brought in to develop their own policy and the action plan. So we should not think that the country has given a guideline, country has got a policy. That does not mean exactly the real execution at the site. You will have to define the needs and the content of the closure plan for considering the ground conditions at your place, and then you will have to know that what the regulator will be looking into, because depending on the country's regulations, there would be different expectations. A developed country would like to see that aesthetically, and then other things how it is kept over there. A developing country will be looking into see that this how our economic that is our people's earning is maintained, and an underdeveloped country will be looking into that. Okay, from there the resources will have to be placed in some other areas of their country's development. So that's why that how the regulator will be evaluating the technical content of your work is very, very important. And then you will be ultimately developing a different type of land use, and there you will have to define what you will have to do, and in that the physical and chemical stability will have to be brought in. Again, the acceptable design criteria will have to be laid down, and then you can see that how your closure activities will be affecting the climate change, how the different stakeholders will be engaged, and how the post closure monitoring will be managed, because then all these things will be giving input to your financial requirements. So that's why at the second phase you will be developing the policy and the closure plan. Then the whole management how will be done, that is as a third phase, and in that the whole policy needs, and then the overarching management, in which way the whole closure will be brought, what are its jurisdictions, how will be interacting with different agencies will be done, so that you can do the relinquish pathways, in which way you are going to totally relinquish it, and then you are going to transferring into the next custodian. And then this situation will be different depending on whether you are doing a suddenly because you are forced with a sudden conditions, or your normal closure you are going to take place. And then if you are to abandon it, there also the company should have a policy that I am abandoning, but abandoning does not mean that I don't have any work to do over there. There will be also certain things that need to be defined, and then there will have to be the most important thing at this third phase is the managing the expectations. There will be an expectations of the legal authorities, there is an expectation of different stakeholders, there is an expectation of your own mining company that in which way they want to interact, and ultimately the expectations as a society for a sustainable goal to be met, and for that exactly you will have to bring your total implementation of the closure plan, which could be as a fourth phase, and there your whole preparation for implementing the closure policy, and that implementing is always coming along with how will you evaluate the policy effectiveness. This is exactly I have taken from the Australian guideline, and they have very carefully selected this phase. But while you are going to actually work within a mines, it will be depending on the local conditions and things will change. So the planning process for the underground mine closure also you will have to do a pre-mine environmental descriptions, and that will be giving input from the design of the mine and operational activities. Then the development of the mine closure plan will be coming up, and which will be doing a lot of work like scoping, identifying the closure, impact assessment, monitoring management, closure content, financial provision, whatever I said in the previous slides, those will have to be brought into this closure plan. And then the competent agency will be looking into it, they will be evaluating, and by that also you will be engaging the community, and then whether your plan is been a totally integrated and a comprehensive, that if it is so, then the reclamation and decommissioning work will start, and when this is going to be there, okay, there will not be any problem and all, then only you can do the relinquish. So this is the general philosophy. But while doing it as a case study, taking a particular mine, and then for each of these job, you will have to technically do a lot of work, and that will be in the field you will be learning. Activities of the underground mine closure is therefore your planning, assessing and budgeting. Then your decommissioning job, what are the things you will be taken out, and then you will be auctioning or selling, or you will be getting some money from there. Then the groundwater protection is a very important job you will have to do, so that the groundwater do not get contaminated. Your solid waste, what will be generated, that will have to be placed. Development of the new land use, that area how exactly could be used for more economic activities is one of the area of this. Then societal plans and sustainable economic ventures at the closed mines will have to be brought up, and utilization of underground space and the redevelopment of energy resources. And at the mine closure, there could be many depending on a type of mine and type of operations. But one thing we need to know, that what are those closure needs, and their most important thing is the risk based assessment. You will have to find out what are that exactly abandoned mines, their area, what are the different type of hazards and risk will be there on the sources of the hazards, their pathways of the exposure ways, and the potential impact must be known, which will be from the environmental problems of the mine entries and the health and safety concerns that will be defining this. And once we have identified that area, you can give a score or risk score for determinations in your risk management courses, in general mine management courses. We talk about this, how to develop this risk score, and from there we can get the physical risk as well as environmental risk, and these total physical hazards can be found out, and total environmental hazard in that area of a closed mines can be found out, and on that basis you define what are the socio-economic concerns will be coming, and then your mine closure activities will be done for that. So once all these studies are made, then you will have to manage the abandoned mines by doing different way. One of the tools and technique is using geographic information system. So I had told you earlier also, in the tools and techniques of mine closure, that remote sensing and geographic information systems are great tools, and there we will have to develop the geospatial database for the mining records and the information, because the planning and execution will depend on that. And the geospatial analysis will be telling about our how the drainage will have to be taken, how the water sources will have to be distributed, or if there is any valuable is there for that, where the markets are there. All these things can be found out by geospatial analysis. And there will be to how does mine damage prevention in the business, that also can be a predictive work can be done on the basis of this geospatial database when you develop once. So the decision making policy is a things which is required, and there the technology interventions by having the monitors, different type of sensors, different type of collection data, and analysis of that data will be developing what is called as a decision support system for mine closure and sustainable development after closure. And by that exactly when you will be using a geographic information system with all the geological data, regional construction works, and in the abandoned mines, whatever the what is the local demography near to the mines, what are the different businesses available, what are the other georesources there, this when come then we do. And the most important thing, of course, the groundwater concerns. For that, again a different tools and techniques will have to be used for assessing, and once those are done, then you can think of how exactly you will be using these closed underground mines. There are many ways. Then in Korea they have used that exactly in a Gawanwiwang cave, there is they have used that underground old mine excavator area for keeping the dry fish, storage of dry fish, the pickled fish they say, and it can be. Sometimes these things can be done, little bit more excavation is done, and so that it can be more useful for that. And then such type of place can be used for training center for the youth. That means the educational, that is your engineering colleges should be brought in to those closed area, and then it can be treated that how the future technology can be developed with that, and then of course the sightseeing, then sports, leisure, underground park, underground shopping mall, all these things can be possible. And we have shown you earlier that how in Shanghai the metal mine, underground metal under open cast mine has been converted to a international hotel. Similarly, that there are many places in the world where the underground excavation area has been used. Here are some examples I have jotted down from the experiences of South Koreans. So you can see that, and then you will have to imagine and dream by yourself that what can be done. As I say, for example, a museum, underground museum of that is a South Korea and Japan. I told you earlier also that in a coal museum you can keep it over there. The new students can go and see that how in the olden time the people used to do a mining by using this is a simple the pneumatic drills they were used for doing these blastings and all. So such type of things for the educative purposes, so that our student tomorrow they need not go on reading those books which will not be useful for developing new technology, but an understanding is necessary. So instead of reading about your 200 pages of book, if you see one museum for half an hour to 3 hours time, you can get the whole concept in your mind for going for new innovations activities. So these are the things which are coming. Is an abandoned coal mines, this is a water body, in that we can have the solar panel and then we can use this, and such type of, we have given a proposal, maybe if it comes in Mahanadi coalfield, maybe going on using such type of things in near future. So we have this groundwater concerns to be very important, because that water crisis can be managed with this, and that's why the mine closures there, whatever the void that is created, how it can be effectively used for water storage. If it could be a rainwater harvesting site for that whole region, and then from there a good region can be provided with water supply, so that our water crisis can be resolved through the management of proper mine closure. So underground mine closure has different challenges, particularly groundwater contaminations, and will have to be systematically managed. Alternative economic activities must be developed for effective mine closure. For that, different tools and techniques are there. I have said that the planning tool, and that using this our remote sensing and GIS we have talked about, but other than that, when you have to block that shaft, that maybe exactly to keep it blocked and sealing it, a different type of chemicals can be brought, and they will be site mixing, and on that they will be solidifying, making a foam. The whole area, the shaft can be filled up with it, and it will seal that, so nobody will be falling into, and nothing, no gas and other can be escaping from it, no air will be going in, so that this whatever the coal will be remaining over there, it will never burn. So such type of exactly techniques are there, and it will have to be evolved, and some of things will be designed by you in near future. There are quite a good literatures available in the net and also in your different libraries, but as I say that Canada and Australia, their mining bodies have done a lot of planning and documentation job. You will have to go through it. I hope by this you will be able to do yourself thinking new ideas how underground mines can be closed. Thank you.